Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel and to another stock market update. I haven't done a video in what, 6, 7, 8, 9 days or so. I've been trying to enjoy the final few days of summer up here in the Northeast, and today was actually kind of chilly, so the summer might finally be over and snow might be right around the corner. So that really sucks as far as the weather goes, but I'll be able to focus more in on the market, do some more trading, and hopefully do some more YouTube videos. I really enjoy interacting with you guys. But the big news this week was the Federal Reserve raising rates. It says the Federal Reserve delivers a massive shock to the market because the Fed's forecast for rate hikes was much more hawkish than what the market was expecting. Now, everybody kind of knew that the Fed was going to be raising by 3/4 of a point, but it wasn't necessarily what they did, it was what they said. And this article is even saying that the S&P 500 could probably fall to 3,100. So that's what, about 18 and 19% further to the downside from here. So that could sting a little bit if that ends up happening. I'm kind of on the fence where I think the market is going to end up going. I can see the market certainly going lower, but it kind of looks like it's in the middle of a bottoming process to me right now. And it's not a beautiful bottoming process, so I could kind of go either way. That's why I bought some puts on the QQQ just to hedge the portfolio, but I'll get into that when I get into the charts. But news like this ends up coming out near the bottom as well. Normally when the market's been down 20, 25, 30% or so, people have sat through that. They're not enjoying what they're going through, and then these projections start coming out that the market's going to fall another 15, 20, 25% from where it is. That's usually when the last weak hands end up selling out of the market, and that's what ends up creating a bottom. But so I know that didn't clear anything up. I could actually go either way on where the market could end up going from here. But I'm kind of positioning my portfolio both ways. I haven't really sold out of any stocks, but I did buy some downside protection. But getting back to this article, what the Fed had to say, they're saying that rates will go much higher from here. But what they said that jolted the market to the downside is they plan to get rates to about 4.4% by year's end, and the Fed fund futures were only around 4% before that. So now they're projecting that it's going to be about 40 basis points higher than what the market was expecting, and about 1.25% higher than the federal funds rate currently, following today's, or yesterday's, because this is an old article, but yesterday's 75 basis point rate hike. So you just have to remember this about the market. The market doesn't care about good or bad. It cares about better or worse. This is something I had to learn the hard way when I first started trading and investing, because I would kind of wonder, why when a stock comes out with fantastic earnings, is the stock price crashing, and vice versa. A stock comes out with horrible earnings and then the stock just ends up rallying. It's not necessarily what they came out with, it's what they're saying could be happening in the future. And if they say things are going to be a little bit better in the future, the stock will usually end up rallying on those comments. And then, of course, even though earnings come out dynamite, but, companies start coming out and saying that, they're going to have some problems going forward, that's when you usually see the stocks start crashing. But that's definitely what happened with the market. The market was kind of hoping for a little bit better news, and the Fed just said that they're going to be even more hawkish than what they were projecting before. So we had that move down in the market. But with that being said, I don't know. I just think the market feels like it's making it's in the middle of a bottoming process. We could be coming into that final little flush that kind of shakes out the the last weak hands, and then we could be entering into an uptrend after that. I think the market is just itching for some good news, and if we do get some good news, just inflation starting to come down just a little bit, I think you're going to see a significant rally in the overall market. But who knows what happens from here. Let's actually go over to the charts and see how they're looking. All right, so let's get into these charts. And spoiler alert, I really don't have any fantastic charts to show you guys. I don't see really any trades that are setting up. The market seems like it's kind of in no man's land at the moment. So I'm just kind of in a mode of watching, hoping for a trade to set up, waiting for the market to, make one of these little formations right here and hopefully get into a little bit of a bottoming formation so I can make a trade. I thought that's what was going on yesterday, and we had a nice little bottoming formation showing up on the intraday charts, and I thought that there's a pretty good probability we were going to have a move to the upside. I bought some calls on the TQQQ, but needless to say, those are not doing. They're not doing great. Not great at the moment. I did buy just a couple more today, just to average down a little bit. It wasn't a very big position. I never take huge trades on these type of moves where the Fed is going to come out and say something that could potentially send it the other way. I usually just take small trades, but either way, they don't expire till next Friday, so I still have a little bit of time. That's why I just wanted to average down just a tiny bit and, give it another day or so and see, if we get some momentum going to the upside. By the way, things are looking right now, I say it's probably more likely that we end up drifting lower. We are making a little bit of a doji pattern right now. I think there's still a little bit of time left in the market, but this is probably where the Qs are going to end up. We are coming in to this support area right down here around 276 to 277 on the QQQ, so it's going to be very interesting to see if the market holds that area. By the way, things are looking, and the MACD is looking. I'm guessing that momentum is just going to carry us right down through that, but still hopeful that we could end up getting a bounce. I think the market is just dying for some good news, so hopefully we can get that. Let's jump over to the IWM. You can see the IWM really accelerated to the downside, but once you get these acceleration type moves, these can really end up, causing those flushes in the market that could end up having a sharp move to the upside. So when I start seeing two big down days like this, I actually start getting kind of excited and I start looking at those intraday charts. Hopefully trying to spot one of these bottoms. And you can see that there is a lot of support right down around 167 and a quarter. So the IWM comes down into that area. I'll probably be interested in taking at least a day trade. If we get a little bit of a bounce intraday, hopefully I make a little bit of money on some calls. And if that happens tomorrow, that could end up being a decent trade for sure. But let's jump over to the USO and take a look at the price of oil. Oil just continues to kind of drift lower. It's really surprising how weak the price of oil has been over these last several months. And, some of the oil stocks out there have been drifting quite lower as well. If we take a look at the XOP, see the XOP is starting to roll over. I thought after this little formation here, once it got back above that 200 period simple moving average, we were going to end up, rallying and challenging the old highs right around 170, but that is not the case. We have rolled over and we are touching that 200 period simple moving average at the moment. MACD is starting to accelerate to the downside, so that is not a good sign if you're a bull. I guess that's, with the price of oil going down, that's actually a good sign for the economy if the Fed doesn't send us into a recession. I personally think the Fed is going to take the foot off the gas pedal. I know that they're talking, pretty tough that they want to crush inflation at all costs, but I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on the Fed to, kind of sit back and just see how these rate hikes, the effect that these things are starting to have on the economy. I mean, they've went so far so fast. It's hard to tell if they've even seen, the effects of the very first large rate hike. So I just think it would be in the Fed's best interest to, take the foot off the gas pedal. And I think that's probably what we're going to do. And that could be the catalyst that ends up sending the market higher. But XOP rolling over. Let's take a look at the XLE. See XLE, the same thing, getting ready to hit that 200 period simple moving average as well. So, I don't know, oil stocks are looking weak. And if we take a look at some of the bigger stocks in the NASDAQ, let's take a look at NVIDIA first. You can see NVIDIA is rolling over big time, all the way down to 125 for NVIDIA. You can see just how big this fall has become. I think NVIDIA still has a very bright future. I've been accumulating the stock on the way down. I'm still averaged in around 100 and I think maybe 150, 155-ish, so I'm down in this position, but I will continue to accumulate some shares of NVIDIA. I think NVIDIA isn't going anywhere, and they are going to be a much more valuable company 5 to 10 years from now. Another one that I don't own personally is Google, but Google is starting to look very interesting. If Google can get down into this long-term channel that it was into, over the last 5 years or so, I'm probably going to end up adding Google. I think obviously Google is probably going to be a much bigger company 5 to 10 years from now. So if Google can get down into this channel, I'm going to be very interested into adding Google to my portfolio. But that's what happens when the market starts crashing. There's just so many good companies in it. It's either feast or famine in the market. And if we get some more downside in the market, it's definitely going to be a feast of good tech companies that you're going to be able to get much cheaper than what they were just a year or so ago. Another company that looks really interesting right now is Qualcomm. See, Qualcomm looks like it's about ready to break this long-term support right around 120. I think if this area gets broken, we could have some significant downside in the price of Qualcomm, and I will be interested into adding some Qualcomm as well. So I'm probably going to end up being very tech-heavy if we get that final, swoon down in the market. Let's take a look at Amazon, see how Amazon is holding up. See, Amazon is looking much more bullish than those other companies, and I think Amazon and Apple look like they probably have already bottomed. Could be wrong if we get a huge move down, but Amazon and Apple, I don't know, these charts still look pretty darn good compared to all of the other tech stocks, and that is a very good sign for the market potentially bottoming. And of course, can't forget about Tesla. Tesla looks very good, even though it did have a nasty down day today. I thought for sure Tesla was going to be blasting through this resistance area a couple days ago, but ended up rolling over, so we'll have to see where Tesla ends up shaking out. But, as far as Tesla, Amazon, and Apple, I don't know. I think that they are doing very well, and if those three end up rolling over, could end up being some serious carnage in the overall market. Oh, and last but not least is Adobe. I think Adobe is looking really interesting at these levels as well. You can see Adobe is right around 700. Now it's down to 286. If Adobe, let me go to the weekly chart, can get anywhere near this channel, I think this is wishful thinking, but you never know. If Adobe can end up getting down into this channel, I'm definitely going to be a buyer of Adobe, and I'll probably end up being a buyer of Adobe before that. I think if Adobe gets anywhere around $250, I'm going to have to start adding Adobe to the portfolio as well. But that's all I really have for this one, guys. If I see anything else significant in the market, I'll try to make another video. Like I said, I'm going to be having more time to make videos going forward, hopefully. And as always, if you guys see anything interesting in the market, make sure you let me know down there in the comments. I really appreciate it when you guys let me know what you're trading and what you are seeing, because I can't see everything that's going on in the market. But I'm going to end the video right there. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. And until next time, take care.